This week on the segment, we have royalty in here. A girl from Katherine, top Saddlery, Miss Julie Newton. Here she is. Hey guys, welcome to the segment. This week we've got the boss in the house. Every business, I reckon, if you're remote, regional, and you work either as a ringer or on one of the stations, you're going to know this business. Top Saddlery. We've got Mrs. Julie Newton in the house. How are you? Good to see you.
Love to be here.
Really good to see you. So, Katherine girl, fantastic. Tell me why people fall in love with Katherine.
I think it's the community life. I think, just people are friendly. It's only a small place. And then you've got the environment, you've got the river, everyone's mad keen on fishing or playing football. Or you've got the gorge right there. It's a friendly small place.
But it's something that has changed over the years. I remember as a kid going down to the gorge and, I think what's happening now in these days in tourism is really fantastic. Most people go down and have an incredible time in Katherine. Still a bit hot, but an incredible time in Katherine.
Oh, it's plenty happening in the tourist area.
Yeah, there is, hey. So listen, you've got, without doubt, one of the best shops in Australia. Let me push you there a little bit.
Of course.
Let me push you. And look, as Aussies, we're not great at talking ourselves up, but I really want you to tell us what your business does, because Top Saddlery is very famous, all right? It's very famous right through the top end. Tell us what you do.
We manufacture saddles and horse gear and, of course, sell all the other bits that go with working horses. But as well as that, we sell country and Western clothing, cowboy boots, hats, and workwear as well. So if you're a tradie, we've got the workwear. So we do lots of different things.
So I imagine a lot of your clients can be 10, 12 hours away on stations, I imagine. Is that correct?
Some of them can be even further than that. Like we do have customers who are right out in the Pilbara and some of the most isolated parts of Australia.
I think I remember that your hubby's name was up on the billboard as the shop owner. Well, since you've taken over, that's gone. Is he gone?
No, he's still working at home. But I think this whole thing of the name, it's very much about saddlers. I think nearly every saddler in Australia is just known by their name. And I think this goes back to when it's really a craft.
Got it.
And so, but if you want to have any planning for the future, you got to get rid of the name out of there because you can't sell the business and someone else operate under that.
But Jeff started. I guess this started with him actually making saddles.
Well, it did. It was something that he had tried over a number of years. It's always been his passion from when he was in his teens, and I guess after I came into the business full time, that's when we started to branch out into a lot more things. Yep. Yeah.
So obviously trading in Katherine, rural, remote. It doesn't get more remote trying to trade at your level, and you've got online shops, the whole kit and caboodle. What are some of the real challenges that Top Saddlery face trying to run a business remote? What are some of the big challenges?
On a day-to-day basis, without a doubt, it's freight. Yep. So whether that's us sending stuff out to customers or whether it's us receiving our freight, and our freight is bulky. You can look up, do anything up to 2 weeks or more to get stuff by road freight.
Just in.
And you know what? It hasn't always been like that. That's been since the railway, things have got worse. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. We're meant to get better.
No, it got worse. I predicted it and I was right.
We could get in our soapbox here a bit, I reckon. So obviously for your business, I guess relationship with your suppliers, and obviously you have built a great core key customer. I saw something like you've got 10,000 subscribers to your social media. So there's a lot of people that are watching what you do on a daily basis. How important is, touch and feel sort of with your direct customers? Because even though you've got an online shop, do you still have daily interaction with your customers?
Well, we do. And I think that's one of the challenges for for going online, but even before we went online, we had lots of remote customers. So how do you provide that product information, so the touch and feel, when the customer is in the shop? And of course, there's all kinds of things you can do these days, but yeah, that's always been a big challenge for us.
I think you said to me you almost put a handwritten note in almost every delivery. Is that correct?
Everything that goes out as an online order, we do put a little handwritten note in. And, you know, one of the ways small business can compete with large business is to give that personalised touch, to make it seem that every customer, no matter how small, is valued.
So obviously, Julie, that the massive risks around small business, but I imagine you've got to hold all your stock in Katherine because you don't direct ship from your distributor straight to the client. It all comes through your shop?
Absolutely. So drop shipping is not something that is very common in our industry.
Why?
Why? I just...
Is it that personal thing?
I think part of it's to do with the size of the items that you're dealing with. A pair of cowboy boots are a pretty big item. Also the seasonal nature. So even though we're selling jeans and hats and things, a large percentage of that is actually fashion, the same as what you'd get in a ladies' fashion store. So you're really tied into pre-ordering and then holding that inventory.
So I've got to ask. I mean, you've got a shop there and you've got change rooms, you know, and ringers and stations. Sort of, I imagine coming into town would be having fun in town, and all of a sudden you've got dressing rooms. Are there any stories you can give me of what happens in the dressing rooms?
Well, thank God, nothing too bizarre. But I do remember this very lovely young man who was obviously, you know, a bit unsure about his appearance, coming out and saying to me, "Does my bum look okay in these jeans?" And I was quite taken aback because, oh, what does one say? Lovely, mate.
Lovely, mate. I could just imagine Jeff in the corner rolling his eyes.
No, that's we don't have anything too untoward happening in our change rooms. They're not private enough.
That's good. Is staff, I guess, for your type of industry, you know, you talk about, I think your son now works in the business.
Yes, son number two.
Son number two
has been with us for quite a few years, and you know, he's invaluable. As soon as I go out the door, he'll go and sit in my seat. Now, whether he actually does anything while he's sitting in my seat's another matter. No, he's actually a very valuable part of the business. He also does the bulk of the saddle making too these days.
So that's what I was going to ask you. I guess saddle making is not something that you find on seek.com. And I can't imagine that there's thousands of saddle makers out at the quality that you're producing.
We have never recruited a saddle maker. Every saddler that we have had, we have taught ourselves. And so I think we did try to count them up the other day. I think it's about 6 people over that 30-year period. Yep. And all bar one have been women. No, sorry, 2. 2 have been young fellas. Really? But the bulk of them have been young women. Yep. And works for us. And I think the biggest issue for that as a trade is there is no TAFE support for, and saddle makers gone from being a trade over to being a craft, so you don't get that tertiary support.
So Julie, tell me this, why do you think over that 30 years, and look, there's no magic fairy and this all happens, okay, there's, you know, 30 years is a long period of time. Why has Top Saddlery developed such a high-level integral brand in the rural area?
Obviously, longevity is part of it, but I think it's been our connection and our support of the rural area as well. You know, we have some very long-term, strong relationships with, particularly with family-owned cattle stations, probably more with the corporate ones. And we're working very well with the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association, and we understand what they're on about, and we like to help promote them. Because,
you know, building a brand, which what you've done, is it's to be congratulated. But also, I think what's more, Julie, is that you do have a incredible reputation in the community. You really back the community. And I don't know, but I imagine you're kind of in everything.
Oh, look, it's really hard because there's not a big retail presence in Katherine. So, you know, those requests for sponsorship and support, they come on a daily basis, not just from Katherine, but also from interstate. So we are very, very strong in supporting our region. And they're the group of people that support us the most, so we support them the most by doing what we can.
Fantastic. All right, so let me not that I'm a great retail buff, but give me a couple of tips on what's hot. If we walk into your shop, what are some of the main, let's say, 5 top items that are going to go off the shelf every day?
I suppose I can mention brand, a pair of Ariat boots. I mean, and if you're a ringer, and first year you've been in the job, you probably just have the one pair and you'll want to wear them every waking moment, whether you're in town, whether you're in the cattle yards. You also need a decent pair of jeans.
Yep.
So we go through a lot of jeans, and you need a hat. So once upon a time, a Cobras would have been the hat of choice.
Right.
These days, there's a lot more options.
All right. So I tell you what, I'm coming down to Katherine in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you're gonna make this look beautiful with a cowboy hat. You reckon you can have a crack?
I think I'll give up now. No, look. A sun body is what you need. For the heat, you need a palm straw hat.
Good. Well, I normally go to Bunnings to get my $5 hat, so I'm coming to see
Style
you.
up, man. Style up.
Style up. So what would you say? So let's say there's a young couple in Katherine, or they're regional. What advice would you give them about starting a business? They've got a dream to sort of start, they get into, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be retail, but they want to start. And obviously you know the obstacles, or most of us do up here, even in Darwin, freight is a killer. What advice would you give to young couples starting a business?
I think you've got to get the 3 basic pillars of being in business sorted very, very well. And that's that one of you needs to be very passionate about your product or service. One needs to be good at selling or marketing that particular thing. And one poor bugger's got to look after the books very well.
Got it.
So if you don't have that capacity within yourselves, you have to find someone to do that and help you start off on the right path of having those 3 basic things
That's the
covered.
advice you'd give them.
Yep, absolutely.
Obviously, I would imagine customer service, we talk about it in conferences and something, but, it's a little bit of a cliche, but it's something that since I've met you, it's just over and over, I hear this theme of customer service. It just burns inside you. How important, I guess, out there in the bush is your customer service?
Well, it's very important, and it's not just a simple thing of how you interact with people on a day-to-day basis. There's more to it than that. It's just, I think that consideration of customers as individuals and being able to meet their individual needs, whether it's tricky transport, whether it's tricky sizing, niche product, difficulties with communication, whatever.
So what's the trick? How do you deal with grumpy customers? You must get a few grumpy customers now and again.
I go and hide. No.
Tell Jeff to deal with it.
No. Depends what kind.
Because you've got a nursing background. I reckon you'd be amazing at it.
But customer service, in a lot of ways, is like acting. You develop a style within yourself, and that kind of sets your boundaries. It sets your tone. You match your tone to your business. And you keep that kind of standard. It's a bit like acting. And when you have someone grumpy, you've still got to maintain that. Yeah. You don't necessarily let the customer walk all over you or whatever. If the customer is wrong, then we believe in telling the customer that they're wrong about something.
I can't imagine me trying to tell you you're wrong. Jeez, I know I'd come off second best.
That's a whole nother subject. But the customer is not always right. And particularly when you're looking at product safety, when you're looking at your product liability insurance and whatever, when you're talking about people using stuff on horses and with cattle, it's not like buying a dress that doesn't fit right. There's a lot more to it. And so sometimes the customer is not right, and we will refuse to do a particular kind of repair or make something in a particular way because of that.
So obviously, Julie, you're very, very passionate about your shop. You're very passionate about your family heritage and what you do. I get it. But what gets you out of bed? Because you're bright as a button. It's like you've had 3 cordials. Are you like that every morning? I mean, what gets you out of bed every morning?
Well, first off, I am a morning person, and that's because I've got an annoying small dog who wakes me up. But after I get going with that, no, it's about having a routine. It's about getting your head right in the morning and going to work with a purpose and having a bit of a plan and being able to communicate that plan effectively through your whole team.
Yeah, no, beautiful. All right, so one of the things that I love to do is I love to kind of finish with sort of 10 fast questions, and I'm going to throw you in the deep end here a little bit. Be scared. All right, so here we go. So you must be a steak eater.
Yes.
You are, okay. Best place you've had a steak in the NT?
Well, apart from my own kitchen, I will say the Cav.
The Cav. Oh, yes. Okay. You mentioned fishing. Are you a fishing buff?
No more. I was traumatised as a child.
Okay, I won't go into it. Favourite footy team?
Canberra Raiders.
Oh, you poor thing, but good. Well done this year. Favourite pub in the NT?
Oh, God. I don't go out to pubs. Can I say the Cav again?
Go the Cav. Jeez, okay, they're doing well. Favourite quirky retail shop?
Oh, paraphernalia in Parap. I think that's what you call it, paraphernalia.
What do you love about that shop?
Oh, it's a little shop that is just like us, and they have everything, and they're not tied by boundaries. They're
Got it.
there for their customers.
Got it. Is there a favourite dry season event for you?
Well, probably the Katherine show, I think, because it brings all of our customers to town.
Beautiful. I'm glad you said that one. That's good. What's the most unusual question you've been asked in retail?
Gee, that's... I can think of it. It always amuses me no end when people go to buy a set of spurs. So spurs, you've got 2 feet, you would have 2 spurs. But they only see 1 spur sitting out on the rack on display. And then they come to the counter and they say, is this price for just the 1 or the 2? So I do have a response to it.
Go, tell me the response. Go.
Well, if they're rodeo spurs, I say, well, you only need 1 spur on the side that the judge is standing on. So you can have the second one if you like.
All right, and I asked this question. I love this question. Who is easier to employ, men or women?
Well, in the history of our business, we have been predominantly a female business.
Wow. Can I tell you, I don't know, we've interviewed probably 26 people. I don't think there's one person that has said men. We're bloody useless. We are useless. I don't even know how we get a job. That's right across the board. Let me ask you this. If you look back over this 30 years, is there 1 or 2 standout moments that Julie goes, you know what? You're really proud of that moment?
I think the most standout is in 2002, I won the Telstra Businesswoman of the Year Award in Northern Territory. And it hadn't crossed my mind that I could possibly win that. And it was entirely due to the wonderful team we had at the time and as our continued hard work as the family team. And we all shared in that. The girls were more thrilled than me. I think I was just shell-shocked.
No, that's a huge accomplishment, mate. Listen, well done. I've got to say, it's not every day you meet someone that has built what you've built. And sometimes we don't stand back and actually look at it, but really, congratulations. The community adore you down there. You've built such a wonderful brand, and I genuinely wish you the very, very best. And I will see you down there the weekend of Christmas carols, and you're going to sort me out with a hat. You're not meant to laugh. You're meant to say, yes, sir, I can help you. Jeez, give me a complex.